Mr. President, I seek your leave to address His Honor the Deputy Governor General, Mr. Eustace John, members and officials of the House, and all those persons who are here this morning who have served in a very distinguished way in this Parliament, their families, ladies and gentlemen. Today is an auspicious day. Auspicious in a positive sense, of course, because it's the day of the funeral of that great African and world leader, Mandela. These last few days since his death should have brought and must have brought a consciousness and awareness all around the world of what true greatness is. More so, people of African descent and people of the diaspora must feel a sense of pride and must believe that it is a time for renewal in their personal lives, renewal in terms of their outreach to their fellow man and to humanity as a whole. I would say, what a man. What a man. A man who had many changes in his life, a man who was imprisoned on Robben Island for 27 years, and yet in the end was able to forgive those who imprisoned him, those who oppressed his people, and served as that unifying force in bringing the white and black peoples of South Africa together to where we are today with one nation that we hope will grow from strength to strength as the years go by. It gives me a sense of pride, and at the same time, it makes me very humble. And I would feel that through the ages, all those who truly serve, who serve their fellow man, who have served to build block by block the civilizations of the world, at some time would feel and must have felt a sense of humility and an understanding, a basic understanding, what it is to be a human being in the world so large, in the world so huge, and to understand that at no time can any one man have absolute control, because there is a greater being than all of us. And so, Mr. President, I am hopeful that we can apply those same sentiments to all assemblies and to all parliaments around the world, and certainly that we can apply it to our island of Nevis. Because, Mr. President, while we must take some pride and must feel some sense of achievement at being members of this Honourable House, or being allowed to serve in this Honourable House, at the same time, we need to understand the final destination and destiny of the human race, and realize that we are only one block, or we are only building one block and another block. I was very impressed with the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, who recently stated that he came to realize that he could not roll a stone from the bottom of the mountain to the mountain top all by himself. But indeed and in fact, he could only roll it a few yards with the hope that others will come and continue until that stone reached the mountain top. I hope we understand the comparison in terms of ourselves, that no one man can absolutely change the world. He can only be part of a process. And so, Mr. President, I look at the origin of our House of Assembly, as simple as it is, the Parliament, and I remember the days when the preparation was being made to outfit the Parliament and to prepare for the first meeting. Mr. Samuel Hunkins never served in the Parliament, but he was very much involved in terms of doing the furniture and dealing with the decorations and the preparations of this Parliament. Other persons were involved, and that was the physical side. We must remember that the very reason why the House of Assembly was placed here, in this house, in this building, a building associated with another great leader, another great parliamentarian, if I may use that expression, someone who embraced the United States of America as his home, Alexander Hamilton. Because through history we know that this place was called Alexander Hamilton's house. And we know that he spent many days of his early youth here in this house, especially in the hot days of summer, and we know how hot the Nevis summer can be. The truth is he was born at a small estate by the name of Fawcett's. Well, this is where he spent most of his young days in Nevis, and which we associate most with the gentleman. I believe the first leader of Nevis, of modern Nevis, Dr. Simeon Daniel, somehow wanted Nevisians, young Nevisians, to be associated with greatness, with excellence, with Alexander Hamilton. Because indeed, more and more we are realizing what a great statesman he was. And so the Parliament was placed right here in this house. And I hope even today, we do not lose the significance of the association with Alexander Hamilton. Many of us, I know, would say that Alexander Hamilton achieved his greatness abroad in the United States of America, and therefore it has little to do with us. Today, when we look at South Africa, and over 100,000 people at the funeral, and so many heads of state, along with 4 presidents of the United States of America, and the Queen's closest representative, the Prince of Wales, we understand that the world is small, that the world is a village. And is it not so easy for us to separate or to distinguish between a statesman, a Nevisian, who made his name in America, and people who are making their name here? Sometimes, as we say, it's just an accident of history. The point is, though, all of us are part of humanity, and all of us are builders for humanity. Simeon Daniel had a dream. Simeon Daniel wished to see a parliament in Nevis. Simeon Daniel wished to see a government in Nevis. And there lies the seeds of the first true parliament on the island of Nevis in these modern times. Today, we have to pay tribute to all the men, those who were in Parliament and those who were not in Parliament, for the great work they did. During the 3 decades surrounding 1983, to bring about the reality of a Nevis Parliament. We wonder at the objectives of the Parliament. Certainly, I believe that the first objective must have been to preserve democracy, to make sure that the spirit of democracy was imbued in the hearts of every Nevisian. Thus, the association, again, with Alexander Hamilton and with great leaders who have helped to form the democracies of the world. Certainly, democracy in its truest sense, where you have total freedom of speech, movement, association, religion, freedom to work, freedom to be exposed to education, health, etc., etc. All those matters must have been part of Mr. Daniel's thinking, as we see demonstrated with the sixth form, as we see demonstrated in education, in the fields of education, as we see demonstrated with the land program, the first land program in the OECS, as we see demonstrated with the coming of the 4 seasons. The objectives of the Parliament, Mr. President, must have been to send a very strong message of the people of Nevis, especially the young people of Nevis, that they should value themselves, that they should value family, and they should value family traditions, and they should get a sense of who they were, a sense of what it is to be a Nevisian, to be somebody, to have self-esteem, to believe in oneself, to be able to speak freely and to express oneself, and to have whatever ambition one wishes to have, to reach out and be pilots, engineers, teachers, to be parliamentarians, doctors, whatever a Nevisian wanted to be. And I hope today that today, Mr. President, Nevisians got the message and continue to reach out and to reach up as they aspire to reach the stars. Mr. President, the Parliament, the objectives of the Parliament must have been, after years of hope and desperation, after the sinking of the Christina, after the great battles with the Honourable Llewellyn Bradshaw and the fight with the Labour Party, the hope must have been that from this Parliament and from the cabinet that was established along with the Parliament, that the people of Nevis will be able to see their dreams come true, that they will be able to have within their own control the development of this country, to have men and women who will be able to build their roads, to improve their water supply and the electricity supply, to light their airport and to expand the airport and their support, to build businesses, to attract jobs, and to have small business people established on the island of Nevis. This must have been one of the objectives of this new Parliament. And so, Mr. President, the dreams were great, the vision was very uplifting, and I believe that the Honourable Simeon Daniel would be, if not totally happy, in some form happy today with what has happened on the island of Nevis. And as we look at Dr. Simeon Daniel, we have to look at the men who were around him. The Honourable Premier has mentioned some names, but I would like to mention some of the names as well. And I must speak of the Honourable, the late Honourable Ivor Stevens, Mr. Ural Swanson, who is with us today, and others not in the Parliament of Ron Liebert, the other Liebert from Government Road, who we call Papas, Mr. Paris, Sonny Paris, Ralph Harris, and many, many others, some great, some not so great, who helped to achieve what we are celebrating today. The first Parliament made up of Daniel, Stephen, Swanson, Nisbet, Evelyn, Morton, Martin, Victor Martin, Julian Nisbet, and of course, the President of the House, Mr. Spencer Byron, and the Clerk of the House, Marjorie Morton. What a day that must have been. What an achievement to see men and women of one mind, one belief, working together for the betterment of Nevis. As I've often said, whatever we have achieved over these last 30 years, we would not have been able to achieve without the Nevis Island Parliament and the Nevis Island government. Mr. President, following those men and women, we have many persons who have walked in their footsteps. Many persons who may not have been of the same political persuasion, but I would hope would have had the same aspiration to see their country move forward. And I want to say today, whatever their contribution is or was, that together, Nevis is where it is because of these men and these women. I want to say that sometimes maybe we in Nevis see being in the Parliament as a personal achievement or being a minister for government as a personal achievement. It is far greater than that. It is far greater than that to be in the Parliament. And today, as we gather here, we are hoping not only those 30 persons who are being honored today would understand what they've achieved, but that others, young men, young women, may also appreciate what was achieved and how it was done. It was not easy. It was with sacrifice. And while I'm hoping that people will aspire to be parliamentarians and ministers of government and leaders, political leaders on Nevis, may they understand it is not for self-glorification, it is not for vain reason, it is because you want to serve. Serve your fellow man, serve the people of Nevis, appreciate that in doing this, you should be humble. Because when people choose you, you should appreciate it could have been somebody else. And you should appreciate the opportunity that you get to do whatever is good for the people of Nevis. As I say that, I want to say this, Mr. President, that I am not sure we as Nevisians fully appreciate what has been achieved. I am not sure that there is a nexus associated with the coming to the Parliament and being a minister of government and the things that happen as a result in the country. And perhaps this is the time for us to do this. And I would say this. I've often heard people complain about the big salaries of the ministers of government and parliamentarians. But I would like to make the point this morning that there must be a direct association between the quality of men and women who serve and the salaries that they get. Small salaries would lead to little work, and better salaries will attract people of quality who can do the work that is necessary. And we see that today in our life around us in the island of Nevis. You pay a man $10 a day, and you get $10 work. You pay a man $50 a day, and you get $50 work. Or let me change that and be a little more practical. You buy a pair of shoes for $5 and it breaks up in 5 minutes. You buy a pair of shoes for $100, it lasts a year, and you get far more out of it. And that is the point that I wish to make. Don't look for cheapness, because quite often cheapness does not pay off. Mr. President, the ideals associated with the Parliament. The Parliament is based on the Westminster system, a system which comes out of the United Kingdom, and if I may say for a moment, a system in the United Kingdom that depends more on tradition than writing. There is no written constitution in the United Kingdom. But there is that understanding that certain things must not happen in Parliament, that certain things are not in sync, and if you step out of line, you pay the penalty. There's an understanding that you tolerate, that you agree to disagree, but you can remain friends, or at least you can speak, you can talk. There's an understanding that you can say whatever you wish and whatever you want, but the majority views prevail in the end. There's an understanding that you cannot be in Parliament forever. You cannot be the leader of Parliament forever, because as the roll call is sound, people move on. And one time you're in the leadership, another time you're in the opposition, and still another time you're no more. And we can see this, and we can understand this. But at all times, it's a give and take. And it is a preservation and conservation of democratic principles based on the facts, on the facts that first you must respect yourself, and then you must respect others. I hope, Mr. President, that these 30 years has been a learning experience for all of us. I want to congratulate the first leaders of the Parliament, the first members of the Parliament, for doing a great job. I want to congratulate all those men who fought so hard to make the first Parliament happen here on the island of Nevis. I want to congratulate all those invisible men and women who also work to make that great day happen. And in terms of 30 years of Parliament, I want to thank you and your team for remembering, for having this presentation today. It is always good to have these presentations because they serve as a semicolon, not a full stop, but as a semicolon to remind our people where we started, where we came from, and where we are. And as we pause and try to understand the past and the present, we're able to prepare and to seek direction for the future. I also want to thank you for inviting me and my team here today. And I end by saying to all of you who will receive awards today, congratulations. Today is a great day for all of us here in Parliament. It is a great day for the people of Nevis. May the democracy in this island of Nevis be preserved forever, and may it grow from strength to strength, if it pleases you.